Hey, what's up, everybody? So we're going to look at how to create breakout rooms within a Zoom session and a few different customizations that you can make in terms of how you're grouping people, whether it's at random, if you know you have a certain set of rooms that you want to fill, or you can manually place specific people in specific groupings. So there's a few different ways you can go about creating breakout rooms. So I'm going to start a new Zoom session. And if you have waiting room turned on, then you want to make sure that you're admitting participants into the meeting. All right, so if you go to the bottom menu, you're going to see a Breakout Rooms button. This will show up as long as you're the host or a co-host. So if I click on Breakout Rooms, you have a toggle here that I can group people automatically or I can group them manually. So we'll start with automatic. I want to say create 2 rooms, and which will mean that there's one person, one of these users per room. And if I go to create breakout rooms, now we see that each of these users is in a different room. So obviously this will work better if you have a larger group that you want to kind of break down into smaller groups to have a conversation or discuss a specific topic before getting back into the larger session. So we're just kind of looking at this as an example. You have a few different customizations that you can make before you open those rooms. So if I open up options, I have the option to move people automatically. So if I've let them know that we're going to switch to breakout rooms, then when I click on open all rooms, those participants will move automatically. I like to keep this off, but if you want to allow participants to come back into the main room, you can have that available to them as well. When you decide to set a time for your breakout room session, you want to put that here. So right now it's set for 2 minutes. So that means that after 2 minutes in a breakout room, each user is going to get a notification that they're going to be moving back to the original room. This is a notification when that 2 minutes is up. If I want to create a countdown, which gives you a little bit of buffer from when the breakout room session finishes to when people automatically move back into the main room, that typically works best if you are having conversations happening and the timer's up, but you don't want to abruptly end conversations kind of mid-sentence. So if you say create a 30-second countdown, that gives users a little bit of time to transition from the breakout room to the main room. So those are the options that you can customize for your breakout rooms. And if I want to, if I have more users that I'm breaking out, I can move this person to the second room and vice versa. I can delete rooms from here if I have too many. I can rename the rooms if they have particular kind of topics or themes that are happening in that space. This is great for labs, or if you have groups of students that are moving from one topic to another and you want them to kind of know where they're moving next. So that's a great example of renaming rooms. And you could also exchange people. So you're trading one person for another as a quicker way to populate your rooms. And if I want to add a room as well, which we're not going to do because we only have 2 test users. So Now I'm going to open all the rooms. So at this point, users are moving to their respective breakout rooms. As a host, I can decide to join a session, so I can pop in and pop out, check to see if there's any questions or what conversations are happening in a breakout room. And at any point, I can decide to come back into the main room. So if I click on join, I'm going to get a confirmation. So I'm going to move into that room to see what's happening. And now I'm in that room. Nothing's happening. As you can see, user 3 is in here, and I'm in here as the host. And if I'm in a breakout room, I'm going to see this blue button. It wasn't there before in the main room. This is just to go back to the main space. From here, I can do a few things. I can end the meeting for all participants. You probably don't want to do that at this point. I can leave the meeting, also pretty rare, but I will likely want to leave this particular breakout room. So if I click this button, I'm going to be taken back to the main session. So let's open that back up. So now I'm in the main space once again. So up here, this is the timer for the time remaining for the session. I can send a message to all participants in breakout rooms. So this will get broadcast to every user, just to let them know a piece of information. So once the time is up, so I had set these rooms to be open for 2 minutes, I'm going to get a prompt that asks me as a host if I want to keep the breakout rooms open or if I want to close them now. So I'm going to go ahead and close them. And that's going to bring these users back into this space. They do have to confirm to come back in. Remember, I said that 30-second delay from when we close the room to when they come back in. But as soon as I close the breakout rooms, every user will get a prompt to leave their session to come back into the main room. Now let's look at how to create breakout rooms a little bit differently. So now I want to create 2 rooms manually. So when we manually create breakout rooms, first Zoom is going to create the set number of rooms that you as a host specify, and then you're going to assign participants to each room. So when I click on assign, this window will pull up every participant in the session, and I can select who goes where. So if I select both users and then I decide to move user 3 into the second room, I'm going to move them to breakout room 2. So it's a bit more manual, takes a little bit more time, especially if you have a lot more participants, but allows you to customize rooms with specific people, and just gives you that added control over who's going into which room. So those are the 2 most common ways of creating breakout rooms. There's a third option, which is if you have repeating sessions with the same participants, there's a way to create breakout rooms in advance using a CSV or Excel file. We won't get into that today, but hopefully soon, in terms of how to prepare before a Zoom session rooms in terms of who's in which room and how you're grouping certain participants. So those are the 2 most common ways to create breakout rooms. Hope that's helpful. Works the same way with 3 participants or 100 participants. So hope that's helpful in terms of using that as a feature within Zoom. Thank you.